called killer whales right now,
Oh,
but they were called originally whale killers by seamen because
he
they're
said semen.
This orca is literally meeting a human baby, and you can see it through the glass of the aquarium. This orca is trying to get closer to the baby. It's trying to investigate it. It's looking at it. It's eyeballing it. It's likely using its sonar to grasp that this is a small mammalian creature. It's doing these loving sort of head nod things, going up, seeing if it can come over, if it can spy hop like we talked about in that other video, to look over and see the baby. I mean, it just shows the intelligence of these animals, why they don't belong in captivity like this.
Yeah, that is very true. Very true. I immediately have thoughts on this. I became a way stronger defendant of this whole animal rights thing as an adult. I'm not out here going yelling, okay, you know what I mean, let's not eat whatever meat and whatnot. But this is crazy. There's no reason to have this. It's like having a human being in one room like this. Because for them, a pool that's for our stupid human brains feels like a large pool. For them, it's a tiny little room of space. So I think that's horrible. I agree, at least with everybody who thinks that that's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to say that I also had this realization a while back because they're also very intelligent. So that's just to explain. Like they don't usually harm humans because what they do is when they like hit off with their sonar, they can tell when you're like a more intelligent creature. I don't fucking know how. Maybe they can, grasp your brain size. But they definitely can say that you're a mammal, and then you're a mammal with maybe some similar elements. And there's some really cool videos of people just paddleboarding somewhere like closer to, south to the edge of South Africa, or maybe on Antarctica. I don't remember. But the point is like orcas will pull up and just start oh my god and laughing. They'll look at you and be like, holy fuck, thinking creature, and you're like, holy, and you'll look at them and you'll be like, holy fuck, smart fish. Well, smart, it's not a fish, it's more like it's a whale. You're like, smart whale. And this is why I wanted to watch this content, because the orcas themselves are so unique in that they actually have nationalities. They live in different geographic regions that formulate their hunting patterns, their cultural appreciation, but most importantly, their language. So the way they talk among each other is different based on where you grew up. If you grew up with one family, you won't understand another. And that was so fascinating to me.
You know what's kind of interesting? Just based on where you grew up, the way you say talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so different across the entire country, and it's talk, coffee.
Yeah.
I'm walking.
Yeah. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
On the intelligence of orcas, I had this little deep dive before as well. I think they're one of the only 5 or 6 animals on the planet that can recognize themselves in the mirror. They actually fully recognize that it's themselves in the mirror, and they understand the concept of a mirror. And there's only a few animals. I don't know if orcas and dolphins are in one group when it comes to that distinction of recognizing themselves in the mirror, but I think it's orcas, it's dolphins. It's not the crow, but как это будет, ворон, the
ravens.
Serious crow.
Yeah, ravens, the big ones, the fucking scary big ones.
And I swear, I don't even remember. I think one type of monkey, not monkey, one type of ape only. I don't think it's even chimps. I think, but maybe
bonobos, maybe.
I think maybe, but again, I don't want to butcher it, so don't quote me on this. And that's it. It's only a couple animals that recognize themselves in the mirror, and these guys are one of them.
Yeah.
It's actually very sad. You think about the ones that the ones that do tricks. I don't know if they does this shit still exist? This is in Aqua World somewhere, right?
Yeah. Sea World type things.
Crazy, right? And then they do the tricks, right? When they hold the ball on their nose and shit.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're a human in prison, and the way you get food is by doing very dumb tricks. Your brain is capable of all of this stuff to think, right? but you have to every time just walk up there and do a stupid trick,
No,
to get a ball.
no,
It's
it's
depressing.
yeah. No, it's very depressing because like studies have shown that like that famous situation where that orca drowned its trainer, like he straight up murdered him.
I didn't know. Well, maybe,
Yeah, no. It's a SeaWorld situation, I get, but SeaWorld was the worst in taking care of these animals. And I agree with you. Like that's why I remember like we were in an undisclosed country traveling, abroad in the American Peninsula, and we saw. I don't know if you remember, but there was like sea cows. There was like a division between like let's say sea cows that could put like that you could come over and swim with and chill. And then on the other thing, like across the net, there were dolphins, but these dolphins had an exit to the ocean. So this was just like a canal. They would pull up because fuck it, free fish and human interaction. Why not? That's so cool.
but they would
That's
give
so
them
cool.
exactly the freedom to do that, to choose to come over, choose to interact, get some extra fish, and then go out into their free world.
Yeah.
That's an awesome approach. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they actually do that with smart monkeys these days. I keep saying smart monkeys as if I don't know it's fucking apes, but with the smart monkeys, they keep doing. I think they do that when they research them. Is they kind of like build them an area that is favorable for them, and then when they enter the area, they observe them and they measure whatever they need to measure. But I think I could be butchering them. I'm not butchering no monkeys, but I could be butchering this. But I think those stupid fucking monkeys.
Man, when Planet of the Apes happens, I'm
Yeah.
good.
No, but that's a great concept, right? And actually, like, it's kind of maybe like common sense to most people. But at one point, I had this realization. So at one point, it was not common sense to me. It's like it really depends on the animal, honestly, and on their intellectual capacity, whether like you're treating them humanely or not. Like a giraffe is just happy that there's no lions around, But an orca needs the free world. It's different, nationalities and like you say and all that,
Yeah. And isn't it crazy that it's the apex predator of like all of the ocean? It weighs a staggering 5 tons, from 2 to 5 tons, 2,000 to 5,000 kilograms of pure mass with intelligence, and they'll wild, right? Wild.
Human beings are such assholes. They looked at that whole, like, if this was an ugly thing, like a dragon fire breathing thing, we'd be like, whoa, 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 stay away from it. It's in the ocean.
Yeah.
We looked at it, we're like, oh, it's cute, like a panda. Let's get
Yeah.
this is supposed to be like the apex predator, like you said.
Yeah, but they were actually called different before. They were called whale killers because they're the only animal in the ocean that hunts
Wait,
humpbacks.
they're called killer whales.
No, they're called killer whales right now.
Oh,
But they were called originally whale killers by seamen. So people on boats, because
I
there's
said semen.
yo, you better whoa there, buddy. So with seamen, they saw them killing humpback whales because they're one of the only animals out there who will kill. I might butcher this. They definitely kill the calves, but even great white sharks kill calves. They might they might, because they gang up on a big whale and they just like demobilize it, start draining its health. Like slowly, just dead whale. That's wild. That thing is the biggest animal, the humpback, in the existence of history. Like with all the dinosaurs, we didn't have an animal this big, and just five ton dudes pull up and just start consuming this ginormous, animal. This is literally like a brontosaurus of sorts.
Just want to look at the size of this fucker.
Wow, that is huge.
Gorgeous.
And that's not even a close-up. Like, when you're swimming with that thing, wow.
What?
Yeah, they do that sometimes. And I was watching this, so some scientists were like, no, they don't actually consume humans. They don't. but they accidentally do swallow rafts for some unknown reason. And
oh my god.
maybe they're bullying them. I have no idea, but oh my god, that's ginormous. That's what she said. Anyway, so
But I was thinking before that we can probably watch more what's the other whale called? Orca. Just Orca shorts. Watch. Orca.
it's hard to get proper content on them, like documentary type shit. Like there's not a lot of super interesting things. Like that one would be
Let me just take a look at this, because this one looks like I'd shit my pants if this happened to me.
Yeah, but they're very
But think about it. It's like you're in space, floating around with endless nothingness all around you. And this huge fucking thing approaches you slowly. Honestly, I'd be like, there'll be just like shit floating around me. Like,
Yeah. No, and different orcas are different. Like there's some orcas that swim in pods of 3, and they won't talk forever. They'll never talk. You know what they'll do though? They'll just go on a murder spree. They're just killers. They're just out there murdering everything they see. Sometimes not even hunting it. They just kill for sport. But they don't talk. That's the crazy thing. They don't talk.
they're just
at
like
all.
the mentally ill serial killer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just,
Wow, no?
We have a meaning. We have a cause. Get rid of everybody else.
I know, but it's so fucking crazy. Oh, the only animal that they don't scuffle with, I've said that they are whale killers, and that's true. But the only animal that they don't scuffle with is the sperm whale, because the sperm whale has very strong
He
teeth.
said sperm.
No, I swear to God, bro. I swear to God. It's in the name, bro.
Wait, hold on a second.
It's in the name.
Okay, now sperm whale, the humpback whale, they all got these weird ass sexual.
Yeah, weird ass names, bro. Like seamen standing out there in like the dry ocean. You get what I'm saying? They all out there. Okay, love it.
Yeah, we're just ruining this. This is us, and this is a hole in the ground, and this is us with a shovel. Okay.
Whoa, bro.
Yeah, no, dude. Okay,
Let's go. You want to watch the sheriff?
Oh yeah, let's watch the sheriff shit. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Do I even still have the sheriff up? Yeah, I do. There you go. Let's watch this. Sheriff Grady Judd, maybe the dumbest guy on earth, he says in quotes. Burglars call 911 for help moving stolen goods. Okay, interesting.
Okay, we need something lighter.
Okay.
For a minute. So, there are times in this job and career that it has to be true because you can't even make it up. So let me introduce you to Martin Gonzalez Garcia.
He always speaks like this, so I have not watched this, but I just know that he always speaks like this, and I can see you cracking up over this dude's forehead. Okay, mute? Yeah.
Bro, I am like, I just fucking can't. The dude straight up said, "Here's the guy." Fucking puts his photograph. Oh,
He
the
always
guy.
roasts him like this. I told you
Oh
this
my
was a fun
God,
guy.
dude. I
I
can't.
love this guy because he actually does real work that you see, like you can see like on these actual cases, trials, court, but he's just hilarious when it comes to this shit. Okay.
This guy is not scheduled to be able to complete college as a Rhodes Scholar. All right? This guy may be
Oh my God.
I told you.
Oh, this is wild. This is what he does every day when he does like a report.
When the press conferences come, like once a
Oh
week,
my
or when they
God,
do an
dude, this
arrest,
guy is
sometimes they do an
crazy.
arrest of like 48 different people in an organization, and he would just roast them in a row. He would be like, Mark, John, and Adam here are part of the same crazy family, like father, like son. And you're like, yo.
Yo, this is wild. This is
Yo,
so
okay,
wild.
okay. Check the. Let's see.
like the dumbest person on the face of the earth. I mean, I'm just guessing. Thinking out loud, But on the 29th of December, At about 1:10 in the morning, we get an alarm at a Dollar General out in Poinciana. And we respond to the alarm and find there's been a burglary and a theft. So we start the investigation, and we have some video of the guy who breaks into the store. Well, the manager looks at this video and goes, well, I recognize that guy. I talked to him about a cell phone. He wanted a cell phone. Interestingly enough, there's a cell phone stolen from the burglary. And not only that, he asked about employment. I gave him an application. Well, not only that, I got his phone number. Did you hear that? Did you hear what I said? I didn't stutter. We had his phone number, and the deputy who's investigating it go, yeah, I recognize that guy from the neighborhood. So we look for him all through the night, and the night shift goes home. They come back to work that night. Now, look, I know, look, y'all look at me. I'm not drinking, okay? I'm not on intoxicating drugs. At 18:55 hours that night, we get a 911 hang-up. A 911 call. Did you hear that? A 911 call. I'm sober as most judges right now. We get a 911 call. Our deputies respond to Cardinal Street in Poinciana to a vacant house with a for sale sign in the yard. So we're checking the house.
I honestly, I don't even know what to say at this point. It's leading up to just like the stupidest guy ever. What do you think is going to happen? Here, I'm taking bets. What do you think is going to happen? Is he going to try to steal something for real? Like, I can't believe this. This is what the title says. Look at this guy. We have a saying in our country that says, face not scarred by intellect. You know what I mean? So, не обезображенное интеллектом лицо.
Oh my God, I'm thinking about a little bit of a different concept, bro. I can't fucking, you'll see my face in the replay. I'm just sitting here like, what? He left his phone number? I was full on expecting him. Like, the way he phrased this whole thing, I thought he was gonna, I thought the guy was, like when I gave him an application, I thought he filled that application out. They gave it back to him.
Left his
Bro,
and everything.
I know, right? SSN and all. Well, I was, when I heard that, my mind started racing.
Oh my God. Okay, let's see what this idiot does.
Store is open, so we go in and we check it out, and voila, there's Martin, along with his girlfriend, Alicia Ocaso. She's 22. That's right, they're in the house.
Okay.
So we go in and we, of course, take them into custody. Martin confesses to both of the burglaries. Ashlis, she confesses to her burglary that they're in the house. And here's what she said.
Okay, moment of truth.
I swear she said this. It's hard for me to even get this out. She dialed 911 to have a deputy come there to help them move their belongings and take them to the airport so that they could fly back to New York.
I got nothing, dude. I got nothing. My brain is just like, you know, the Windows blue screen? That's just like, error. What? Okay. I got you.
Why a deputy? Why not a tracking like, why not a shipping company? Why would did you want to give yourself up? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Did you hear that she dialed 911 from inside the house that they'd broken into so we could help them pack up and give them a ride to the airport so they could return to New York.
By the way, this does sound like a New York couple, y'all. Just go throw that out there. Shit's rough out here.
You have to be from New York to do something like that. Or you could have been from Baltimore because he used to be there.
Perfect.
Or he has an outstanding warrant in Cleveland, Ohio. You could be from Cleveland. But for some reason, I don't think even as inclined as Baltimore and New York is to not enforce the law, that you would think it's okay to commit a burglary and dial 911 to catch a ride out of the place.
That's absolutely insane.
That's right.
That's absolutely insane. She has to be mentally ill, right? Who does that? What did she expect?
Or on drugs. That's what I'm also interested about.
Yeah, has to be.
They didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Well, there is something wrong with it. You know, in New York, they're not going to hold you responsible for a minor burglary like that with nothing stolen out of the house. You know, they're going to let you go or have no jail bail, or I don't know what their deal is up there, but newsflash, they weren't in New York, they weren't in Baltimore, they weren't in Cleveland, they were in Polk County, Florida. And in Polk County, Florida, we lock you up.
I love this dude.
New phone, new cell phone, girlfriend, we took all of that stuff, and we gave him a ride. It wasn't to the airport. It was to the county jail. But given the circumstances in New York City, hey, maybe the county jail in Polk County is better than New York City.
I think on that wonderful, amazing closing statement, Judd, we can finish. This is cool, amazing, amazing.
Wow.
This is an actual news conference in an actual country on an actual planet Earth, by an actual sheriff.
That's that guy's kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still like, what do you have?
No, I mean, I was gonna just agree. He needs to, he'll be a good comedian if he wasn't in law enforcement. His timing and everything is fantastic.
I think he just but I think he understands the way. I don't think he personally. I think he just understands the way the media works. So he this way he can convey a bigger message. But it's just so funny. I'm sitting here. I'm a little bit
offended. I'm offended. I'm like, I'm from New York. It's not that bad. Is it?
No,
Probably.
I'm actually not offended. I'm just laughing deep down inside because the level of humor that you have to have, but the level of situation of this having a possibility of actually happening, it blows my mind. Because if I understood it properly, they robbed somebody, they broke into somebody's house, then called the cops, and they're like, "Can you extradite us to New York, please?"
It's almost, from what I understand, they robbed somebody on the first day, stole the cell phone from the shop, and left their phone number there as the "Can I get a job?" And on the second day, when they were in that house, robbing the house, for some reason they called the cops from the cell phone they stole. Or from the number that they left, whichever one, I guess. And so, immediately, it's 10 red flags,
Yeah.
It's that's the guy. That's the guy for sure.
Yeah.
That's genius. I just want to once again point out, I love this sheriff. You can go on YouTube and find interviews with him, right after a shootout. He'll be in the street shooting, you know what I mean? When he needs to. And then he'll be out here, making these jokes, roasting these people. No,
I love the fact that he's such a good public service, not just a good law enforcer. Because you could tell he's I like this. I'm helping humans. I'm helping people, my people.
This, yeah.
And I'm gonna roast the fuck out of you dumbasses while I'm at it. And I'm enjoying my job. Yeah, that's cool. I wish more officers were like him. This is great.
At some point later, I'll send you more links to this. Maybe we can watch him together because he always pops up on my YouTube, and I just know it's gonna be awesome when it pops up. It's gonna be either a roast or something or some sort of crazy story. Like, he was also on PBD's podcast, by the way, FYI. So
Oh yeah, you said that. I remember.
That's
I remember.
That's the guy.
He
That's
was.
why I was like, I gotta watch this.
Yeah, and I remember him sitting down and being like, Patrick McDavid. He was like, surely people can't be this dumb. And he's like, you see, Patrick.
It's a good story.
Yeah, they actually are really fucking dumb.
All right, you want to go for another one? You want to watch Casually Explained? What's it called?
Yeah, the MMORPG. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's just dive right into it, I guess. Let's just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dive right into this. Casually Explained Evolution 3. Don't know why I said it like that. Evolution 3, Life is a Video Game. Let's go.
So, since the first playable characters came out, the devs have been working on the human player type for what seems like 3 billion years, and I'll admit that I haven't even gotten through all the levels yet, but I've been pretty impressed so far, so I wanted to give a critical review of the current content.
I love this already, and we have to watch. Okay, I know we'll do one more short one after this. You're gonna love it. I don't even know which one yet, but it's in a similar type of vibe video. It's called Tier Zoo.
I love Tier Zoo. It's a great channel. It's a great concept for approaching like biology and zoology. But I also do like when they do the like, because like they had like a tier list of like primates, of apes or some shit. And they're like, and by far, humans are the most OP because, holy shit, like we like.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. You got this little mammal, and it's like literally took over the planet.
Now, if this is your first time playing, I definitely recommend picking one of the starting regions with lower difficulty, which I put in green here.
Nice.
All the servers are getting pretty overpopulated right now, so you can pick one of the yellow regions if the recommended ones are full.
Okay, so he said the green servers are easy, but they're getting overpopulated. You look at that? Yeah.
But really try not to go for the areas in red unless you really know what you're doing.
I like it. Yeah.
Or wait, so that what he's about to say is super funny. So click on that and click back to me.
Okay. My YouTube be bugging.
Or just trying to speed run the game. Pretty much all
Unless you really know what you're doing, or you're just trying to speed run the game. Now I get it. Okay. The choppy ass YouTube over here. Yeah.
Yeah, so that really, that was really funny to me because, having been put in a position where I have to live in the yellow regions, first of all, the education brought from the green regions is good, but again, it's like it's very good perspective, and it's very good perspective in this respect of comparing and contrasting and being very appreciative. Like, I think we mentioned this in the last video, but there's this veil of American ignorance that exists, right? This bubble. So for me, that was a very big point. It made me laugh because it really is harder. I mean, it's still realizable. Like, you can still do something. But it is more, it really is more competitive. It is more competitive. That's just the way it is. Like, and that's why it gets hard because you're like constantly trying to like make it, have a piece of bread for yourself. If we metaphorically look at that, right? But what I really liked is that, so Margolan Sinsimbayev, remember like that guy, the Kazakh who be philosophizing all the time? So Margolan said this very interesting thing, and I think it's in one of our podcasts, or in one of the 4 unreleased episodes. So essentially, he has this short where he goes like, if an army man who jumps out of the helicopter or plane with a parachute, right? Those guys, the desantniki, if they fly out of the plane, they jump out of the plane. They're fully equipped. They have a gun, uniform, maybe night goggles. This is a good point, though. Maybe, right? All these things, good boots, blah blah blah. But this soldier, he hits his head on the way down, and doesn't have a successful landing. So he forgets why he's there. But when he looks at his gun, you know, he looks at everything around himself, his clothes. He realizes that, you know, I'm most likely a soldier. I'm most likely a soldier, and I had some kind of goal, a task, a thing I was trying to get to and go to. And that's life. Like you were sent essentially by God or human creation in general, on this earth to select a mission and go forth with that mission. So, in the same manner, like that soldier, you would look around yourself and you'd be like, okay, I have this, I have that. Maybe I can create something out of this. Or maybe my mission was to do this or that. So, you come with a sense of purpose to life. But in the African server, you either have a really, really, the spirit that was blessed into your like physical body, you were either like, full on, like I know what the fuck I'm doing. Like a good example would be Francis Ngannou. Yeah, maybe he didn't know what he was doing, but he was like, I got to get out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or you really like don't speed run the game. Like shit, maybe all this hardship is all there is to life. You know, maybe I should die by 32. This sounds like a good idea.
You know, this map, it like it shows that the level of willpower and shit that you need to get through, it gets reduced with like every level. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You barely like you can average out on basic, you know, willpower and still make it decent in the United States, and then you won't in Africa. But honestly, it does bring me back to my original thing where we started off camera before, to where like this is a little deeper of like what's the meaning of life, right? But what we're talking about, okay, I understand that we don't want to be always living in the wild with no electricity, with gangs. That's extra, right? But once you get past the safety issue, right, then it's like, I don't know. Look, I'm just looking at this map, right? Like over here on this map. What's this over here? Is this India? Is this supposed to be India?
Part of it's India, Afghanistan. I think. Well, no. It seems that Iran. Iran is not in that, but I would assume Iraq might be partially in that. But it definitely goes up to Turkmenistan, I think.
Yeah, I think that this map actually weirdly takes everything into account more or less. Like I would say, yeah, India is not that bad, but it's dirty, and then you probably die at 50, so that's not good. We're getting canceled as shit. Like, Russia is also dirty, and you're dying at 50. Okay, let me try to save this. Okay, we're all alcoholics.
You know what?
We all drink vodka, smoke a pack of cigarettes every day. We die early. We're uneducated, and when we're assholes.
Christ Almighty! I mean, fuck, cancel yourself, but don't cancel me. My cancellation, my cancellation transcends into actual fucking. You know, don't touch me, man.
I'm trying to save us. I'll have to.
I don't give a fuck.
I'll have to cut out going so and so.
Oh yeah, we got a few of those. It's a little bit of a shame that this one came out so like choppy.
Yeah, but I'm not really overstressing the editing these days, where like, I'll make it kind of lighthearted, where I'll just, you know, if it sucks, I'll just chop out the section, and I'll just boom, easy connect. Like, I'm not trying to think of like, oh, did we say something genius over here? Like, I'm sorry, man, I love you, but probably not, you know what I mean? We're going to be saying it for 1,000 goddamn million times over and over and over again, and if we didn't say it yesterday, we'll say it next week, so.
Yeah, also very true. Well, I mean, at the very least, it's like, well, I thought you were going to say we're going to make 1,000 of these videos, which is true.
We are. And now I'm saying is like if 5 minutes of one of these thousands of videos gets lost, it's really a non-issue. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll say, but in that case, coming back to the thing I was saying about, what you were saying about America, or the green regions, like it really is true because, you know, getting a job in the States, and, you know, I know it's harder now, but generally it really felt like it wasn't that hard.
Bro, I just want to be like, I think it's very, 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 very difficult right now. I'm coming from a place who, if I showed you the amount of applications I sent out, is an entire year of sending out applications and shit. And I like to think that I'm not the dumbest person, or I'm not, you know, the you know, I have some work experience. I like to think I'm a decent candidate, you know. But when you say that it's kind of easy over here, it really stinks because
and that's why I wanted to rephrase it. What I wanted to say actually is that congratulations, you doctors. No, I wanted to say that to me, no. I wanted to say that it's like the progress with the possibility of progression is much more smooth in the United States than it might be in the Russian Federation. But again, like if you're competent enough and you really show, because what I'm a little bit surprised by is how lazy people are. I'm literally in my first week of this job, so I don't want to be a dick to God, to life, But because again, I want to get results, and in general, I just don't want to be disrespectful in that. But again, it's like what really it's like you come over, dudes aren't doing shit. Like, why the fuck would I pay you? It's like I want a result. So if you're like that guy, and you come from a good, or more importantly, you come from a good background, good education, good possibilities, etc., you have the potential, if you put in enough work, to actually be of use, meaning you will get paid more, hopefully. But that feeling of progression in the United States is much more accessible. It just feels that, like, I remember when I was doing my jobs and my works, it's like, and I'm not talking about like the job there. I'm talking more about like in general when you like you interpret doing other work and then you interpret how your friends were moving and associates and everything. So it's just wild. Like an intelligent mind capable of operating a business, so to speak, would be boosted to management. Now, was that a good time? Fuck yeah. Let's be real. It was a more smoother time. Also, right now, I wanted to underline why there's such a stagnation, especially in similar fields to what you do. It's a question of economic situationship. And of course, in that situationship, AI can take over more and more because, how I say this, when shit is cheap, you can integrate shit that it will be cheaper, and then like once shit gets better, we don't have to pay that many people. This has been done over and over again throughout history. But that's why I say there might be market manipulations and economic manipulations just to make things go in a certain way without, revolution or whatever the fuck. So, but with that being said, no, the reason why that's the case is because right now it's an economic thing. It's like we're just okay enough to not, we don't want to fire our workers because it will be hard to get competent workers again, but we're not open to hiring yet because the economy is not strong enough for us to just go on a hiring boom. That's what I keep on hearing from much more competent like hedge fund analysts that that work for these hedge funds and other much more competent economic people. So that's the case. The case is that we're good. We don't want to fire you because it's hard to get really good workers, but we also don't want to hire nobody because we're not certain about what's going to happen tomorrow. And this came before Trump too, by the way.
You see, the problem I have with this description of the current state of things is that, and as I like to say this, in the real world, I like that phrase because there's a difference between theory and in practice all the time, right? So the jobs are being posted, and the response I do get, like a month later, that sorry, we went with another candidate, so and so and so forth. So I refuse to believe that people are not being hired because the jobs are being posted and supposedly they're going with other candidates. You know what I mean? So that comes back to my own skills at that point and my own stuff and whatnot. And again, like no problem. I do want to say, I really do like this. I think this is like interesting food for thought for you because what you're describing back in the United States comes from a perspective of essentially a 20-year-old. You were much younger. And I think that when people are younger, life looks more positive and optimistic. And it's very difficult. I think we started off of this fucking casually explained thing, right? And what did we start off with? The guy said that you start life on easy mode here, but it's overpopulated. Right? You can survive life, but to get ahead, it's extremely, like, the competition makes it, I don't want to say it's much more difficult than in Russia where I don't live or something. But I can tell you for sure it's extremely difficult. It's extremely competitive, you know? And so, yeah, like starting life on easy mode, I guess, yeah, you have higher chance of survival, higher prolonged, you know what I mean? But like back in the day when you were essentially fresh out of college, I'm comparing to myself because I'm not that far removed. And when I was fresh out of college, life seemed more optimistic. And then I was like, oh shit, it's actually more difficult. And then you go, oh, life has gotten worse. Not you, me at least, or most people. I was like, oh, the economy is going worse, the inflation is getting higher, blah 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 blah, boo-hoo. But a big thing is just like when you're just done with being a child and just fresh into being an adult, you really don't understand the difficulties of life. It seems like you can go ahead and make a couple $1,000s when in reality people bust their ass for days and weeks for a couple of $1,000. Not like a weekend, but for like 2 weeks work 40 hours a week. My whole point is you're maturing with every year. You're much older now than you were when you left here. You're not just next year older, you're a few years older. And so to compare to what you thought was the reality here back in the day wouldn't probably, in my opinion, is not it's not like rational, you know?
That's a very good approach to life. But I want to say that this is why I actually brought up the whole concept of like the rich and so on and so, and the preservation of and the hardship of preservation of wealth in the very beginning, pre conversation that we had. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's very because everybody's competing with everybody. So that was the first thought that I had to what you said. Like, isn't it crazy how competition is the sole running thing of this whole world? And in my, outlook on life, that's how you get selected for mating and all this other things, right? Because it's more like, and don't get me wrong, there's still competition among, I'm trying to avoid any words that, you know what I'm saying? But like but competition between men, it's like, I need that resource. You know what I'm saying? Because, if I take on the responsibility for the whole family, for feeding my for my gene pool, for feeding my lineage, for everything. And that's the crazy thing, because while we're competing for a couple of $1,000s, rich people have, let's say, 20% in cash. So and that might be 200 billion fucking bucks. Who knows? But the point is, like, I can just buy shit because I wanted to buy shit. I can buy assets because I wanted to buy assets. You can't buy a house. I can. We're not gonna chime in to buy a $3, $4, $5 to $10 million house so that 60 people can live in one house. And so there are not exceptions, but certain interesting nuances when it comes to reality. But I will say this, though, again, and the rich are competing between themselves too, right? You saw this with the Vanderbilts in like 1836. You see this with Musk and the guy who runs Sam Altman, with the guy who runs OpenAI. They're trying to and the only difference is that one of them is not suing the other, because usually lawsuits are used to actually, as a means of, again, Trump is a good example. My humble opinion, I mean, since we're already getting canceled, fuck it, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think I'll just be editing a lot.
No.
Canceled.
No.
3 months of work.
Yeah, but I will say this, though. It's like, he was right. No. The point is, like, the mugshot story, right? The whole court case. Like, he's not a perfect person. I'm not saying he is. But that whole situation was very, sneaky, so to speak, in my opinion. And we know, New York is very commie-oriented, very liberal. So I would not be surprised to such corruption. And we know that senators, are in the pockets of different businessmen, and we know that they tingle and mingle with, judges, or they have good relationships, just communicative or not, or maybe the judges share their opinions. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. Like the kids go to the same school type shit. You know what I mean?
Shit. Yep, definitely. Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is that, if you don't mind me digging a bigger hole.
Okay, go ahead.
No, the point I'm trying to make is that, yes, everything is competition. it would be wiser. I mean, even in a game theory approach, even in a game theory perspective, it would be wiser for everyone to cooperate with everyone. But yes, that's why it's hard because everybody's competing for the. I personally believe that we can still find like as a let's say a biologist at heart education, and maybe as I mentioned many times over, historically when we look at our family lineage, I like to believe. Watching all these gorilla videos and all these Spinosaurus videos and all this other shit that as a young buck you go out and you find your own plot of land, right? Like if a plot of land is contested by a much stronger male, you just fucking fuck it, I'll find another one. And I still believe that's true. That's why I base my whole philosophy on doveria, so trust. I'm not gonna fuck you over, and I'm gonna be like I'm not harmless. I'm actually very dangerous, and I will fuck you up if you fuck around and find out. But I don't want to because first of all, I guess the answer is I understand game theory, and the second answer is just that it might be more. We all again we want to grow, so again we can find a plot of land, but at the same time a lot of wealth accumulation is done through capital distribution, but not the communist type of shit, the stealing type of shit, where it's like I'll manipulate you, or I'll manipulate a situation, or I don't know, I'll use you, I'll take your cash, right? If you're weak, I'll scam the fuck out of you. You give me $100,000. That's why I sent you the whole Kiyosaki video. I love his books. I mean, they're very interesting. I won't sit here and be like, yo, the cash flow quadrant book was the most essentially epic, life-changing book that I read at the time. I straight up fucking cried. When I was here with my hardships on the balcony, fucking reading, and I literally cried because I realized the reality of life in that moment at the end of the book. And I still have my notes in it. So I'm not going to sit here and say that those books weren't valuable, but they're fabricated. And when you look at Kiyosaki's old content, like video recordings of his seminars in the 90s, he's just manipulating weak people into forcing them to put money on their credit cards and debts and all this other shit.
Right, okay, yes, okay. I actually, this is very interesting to me. Okay, here's the thing. How do I phrase this? So, Kiyosaki came up on my YouTubes over the last 6 years many times. From when I was trying to fix my situation, psychologically, financially, everything, all those things came up before. And it's not that I didn't, I can respect the fact that he's highly intelligent and he's done correct things financially. But I could never sort of get through an interview with him because he seemed like a shitty person, just personally. And my thing is, there's enough better people that I feel like I align with better with my heart that are also super successful that I can just listen to those. I never really, and so again, the cool thing about life is at certain stages, certain things really do mean a huge deal. So I'm definitely that shit was meaningful to you, and yeah. But when you say that he was just pretty much forcing and scamming people to make decisions when they just, because of their lack of knowledge.
Weakness.
Right? Yeah.
Their emotional.
Yeah. It's scum, right? So, okay. It depends on how you look at life, and I'm not trying to judge over here because I don't know. Maybe he's helped 1,000 people, and I've barely helped one. So whatever. But it's just I can't even click to listen to his shit because of his how he comes off.
Yeah, and I would only ask that you increase your camera on this section that we do a little bit, your box just a little bit because it's a little small, and I agree with you in the respect that I think this is a little too big, but
this is why we're talking, and I'll zoom it out.
But the point is, but when you listen to him, in his old interviews. He's a salesman, bro. He was to quote one of his first, like, the businesswoman that hired him as a partner into the essentially prototype company of the, of his books, because I don't know if we can mention his company without getting any problems in the future. But
we can Google it if we need to.
maybe, but better safe than sorry. Don't come inside her. Come on her back. Anyway, so.
You are gonna be the one texting me next week being like, I want to be a serious person. I need to wear a suit. Can you edit this out?
No, you can leave that one. That was good. That was good. It's abstract. It's like abstract art,
Well, yeah, abstract art on the back. Splat.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Anyway, so yeah, he's a salesman. He was to quote that businesswoman, he was a war dog salesman, like just came out of Vietnam, and that's what you see when he's like in his old interviews. He's fabricating a story. He's a good storyteller. A lot of these types of people, like the good storytellers. So they fabricate the story and they'll and he smiles a lot because he's trying to get that trust. That's what pisses me off about salesmen. And unfortunately, I'm in the same business. I'm in the business of sales. And that's what pisses me off. Because I'm not here to fucking sell you shit. Like, how do I say this? I am in that business, but I'm not here to sell my soul. I'm not trying to scam you is what I'm trying to say. Because my whole thing is I have my own investment business. I understand how you think. I don't want you to lose your money and just create a bunch of destruction because I've done that in my childhood, in my past. And moreover, like the whole point is that we actually make some money without, risking it all. So without me taking your wealth and transferring to me because you're a fucking loser and a dork, right? That's not the way it's supposed to be. That's why I'm sitting here in front of you, understanding that it's hard to preserve wealth and multiply it, moreover. So I'm out here sitting and I'm just like, and I only get behind a product if I like it. If I do believe that the company has done the proper analysis, and I'm very blessed, grateful for that situation because I was like, holy shit, the company has the proper companies. They must have proper analysis, blah, 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 blah. You get what I'm saying? And then I'll analyze the companies. But I have enough exits, so to speak, to people where I could sit down with them and be like, listen, don't fuck around and find out putting 16% of your portfolio in this. Just put 2 or 5, because if you're very risk oriented, you could do 10. But I would recommend 2 or 5 because I've been in that sector. I know what it's like, and if you are not ready to take the dips or wait like up to 10 years, then there's no point for you to do it. But you might, or actually you most likely get a very big reward because the analysis has been done properly, so your companies won't be liquidated. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I hate about the sales part. I hate about the sales part that it's a bunch of dudes that are just like, they have it in them like, damn, I'll take your cash. It's my cash.
It's funny because this is the reason why people say that they hate car salesmen, but they just generally hate sleazy salesmen. There's a lot of dealerships that are hiring car salesmen, and a lot of it is on commission like this. And a lot of times, it's the people that go there, it's like hawk type people like that, who like trample over others and take from others, like instead of to provide good service, because it's possible to do it the right way. There's a lot of content on YouTube right now popping up on my feed where it's like car salesmen and they record how they make their deals and shit. And half of it is sleazy as fuck. It makes me feel uncomfortable watching it. And these people are like, yeah, I'm so cool. Watch me. I sold this dude over on 5,000 extra. I got money paid. It's like, bro, this man worked hard for his money. He came over you. He trusted you, dumbass. He could have just went to fucking Ford.com and bought a car from Ford. He came over to you. He trusted your expertise to get everything ready to him and everything. And everybody understands that you got to make a little money on the top because that's how the world turns. But you can't be an asshole, and that's why, again, to my other thought, like I think it's possible to do it the right way. I've seen a lot of other content pop up right now on my YouTube where it's like Patrick Bet David, sleazy salesman, and I've never heard actually people say that he scammed them by like giving them a bad policy or anything like that. The only people the thing that people seem to have on him, I might be talking on my ass, but so far from what I see, is that he's like, oh, everybody's working on commission, so it's like slave labor, so it's like MLM, pyramid scheme type job, right? There's a place for those too in this world, and I've done one and I think it's a full scam, but we were selling like inexistent products, Anyway, I don't know what to say here, but at least he's not fucking over the people that he's selling to. He's fucking over his employees. And again, you know what I mean? Like, I guess that's better in my book for somehow, because as an employee, you choose to do this shit. You know, like it is because you go, fuck me over once, I guess it's my fault. Fuck me over twice or whatever, right? It's your fault or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say here? I'm totally butchering this. But if I go to a job and I find out that it's a scammy job that's fucking me over, after a week or 2 or 5, when I realize it, I quit. If I get stuck doing that shit for 9 months like I was doing, hi, quick question, do you know about puppies? That's my dumbass fault. That's my dumbass fault. So that's how I look at it. But if I order like an insurance policy and I don't know nothing about insurance and I think I'm going to die in 5 years and I need to get myself a life insurance policy and I entrust you to have that expertise and you fuck me over, I think that's kind of way worse, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's why I really do hate like people using other people. That's why I don't understand how do you imagine to be a super multi. Well, this company's already multi-millionaire, but how do you expect to be a super multi-million-dollar company? How am I supposed to take you seriously if essentially you don't take your client base seriously? And my guys don't do that because I talk to the CEO. It's not a big office. It's got like 4 offices in 4 different countries. It's a worldwide company, and I like the story of this guy's company. But again, like to me, it's like the exits that I have. These people been know you've been trying to fuck them over. But these people have also like a couple $100 million just to spare. So it's not in my right to be a dick to you and try to take your money. Not because I'm worried that you'll kill me, which is also a possibility, but because it's just not right. What the fuck, dude? Like, why am I in this sphere? My whole point is to be like, listen, it's like to be like a consigliere. It's like, listen, this is a really good investment because I've been doing this. This is amazing. The company's crazy. It gives like its logistical infrastructure to open. It gives it's not logistical, but it essentially gives us like, let's just say that this is the concept. It gives logistical infrastructure for OpenAI, Gemini, all the other AIs in the United States. It's a really good company because it is. It is. It's a really good company. But I'm not gonna fuck you over. You don't want to invest in this, like. Maybe we'll try to figure out how much you don't want it. Like, you get what I'm saying. But that's what but again, I'm trying to come to the conclusions. That's why I'm saying like 2 to 5%, 5 to 10%, as some of the like as the CFO says, because I understand this is most likely this is a 1 to 2 year thing at best, and at worst, at medium range 3. At worst, it's probably up to 10. But also, like what I like about the company is that its analyzation methodology is very good. One of the aspects that I like in which it is correct in is that it looks at institutional investors, much bigger venture capital firms, like I do with my stocks. And I'm like, holy fuck, 92% of institutional investors hold. The key word is hold this stock. Like, it's not an Apple or Nvidia where you sell it to trade it, even though that's where the most money is made. No, they're actually fucking holding it. It's because they like the dividends, or they like the balance sheet, the fundamentals, whatever. And so the same thing applies here. Holy fuck, but there's a nuance, because if too much institutional investors hold that asset, that's not really good, because you can get a lot of manipulation. So you want a healthy balance, and you would prefer to have also management have a good chunk, either management or ownership have a good chunk of the actual stock, the actual stock. It's a serious business because again, it's private equity. There's only like 4 or 5 players that have access to buying out the company, unless you're a super investor, so to speak. You get what I'm saying?
No,
So you just come up, and then the cool thing is that we have access to the CEOs of these companies, because the CEOs will reach out to you and be like, "Listen, I need 1.5, I need $95 million in funding. You think you can get that?" And then our company will call its rival frenemy companies and be like, "Listen, we compete in this market to make this cash because we're attracting investors, but you want to do this deal?" And that's most likely how the banks do it too. JP Morgan calls Citi and shit. You got like 1.5 billion. Yeah, why not? We'll do this deal.
well,
And so then we put in that cash. But again, we provide that accessibility, that access to and legal protection to investors. That they have like usually $100,000 to put in as 2% of their portfolio. Sorry, went on this giant rant, but I hope it was informative.
it is very informative. This will technically still go into one reaction video to Casually Explained Evolution. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Went off on a tangent.
Let's see.
There are a few player versus player areas around here, and if you really want to play on a private server, you can do that over here. But the admins aren't so great, and it sucks if you change your mind, because after you're there, you can't leave, so I'd probably give it a miss. Okay,
Nice.
at the start you have to choose a race, and in the past, Caucasian male was definitely the most OP, but they've all become a lot more balanced in more recent patches, at least in the easier starting
Go strength average, intelligence average, dick average.
regions. But if you look at the race
Fucking miserable life for me.
perks tab, still some nice privileges with this choice, so that's what I went with. Okay, so once you've chosen your starting region and race,
I want to read that. Faster travel time through airport security. That's hilarious. Sometimes mistaken for a celebrity in Asian countries. That's hilarious. When you're good at something, people attribute it to skill. Racist slang terms for you aren't even that bad. Your character usually lives for the whole movie. When somebody reads a post on the internet for their default assumption of who wrote it, it's you.
And
Natural Arctic camouflage. That's
Yeah,
hilarious, man.
and I really like the next slide where he goes, "You chose the server America Light."
Let me see.
chosen your starting region and race, you have to go through a 9-month loading screen while your character spawns, and that already sounds bad, but what's even worse is that once you've actually spawned, you have to go through 18 levels of tutorial. The first
Yeah, facts.
few of which are just interactive cutscenes. Even when you get to start moving around and interacting with the environment, what kind of sucks is that the only other users you really get to interact with are the 2 parent players that take you through the start of the tutorial. And the trouble is, if they haven't advanced their parenting skill tree, you end up with really screwed up stats for the rest of the game.
This is fantastic. This is fantastic. I don't even know, like... This
Amazing.
Is common sense, but like so well explained. I love it.
Of who you get paired up with. So the first few levels of tutorial really aren't so memorable, but once you've made it to level 5 or 6, you've usually unlocked the friendship and knowledge trees, but you do have to spend around 6 hours a day at a learning academy to keep leveling that up.
That's a nice way to put it too. So he said, after age 5 you unlock the friendship tree and knowledge tree, but you gotta spend 6 days at an academy to keep that up. 6 hours a day at an academy to keep that.
Okay, so as we get to about level 17 or 18, you basically finish the tutorial, and it turns out that the first thing you actually realize once you're done is that it had nothing to do with the rest of the game. And it
Honestly, yeah. Yeah.
turns out the whole tutorial is pretty much
There we go.
Yeah, pretty accurate. Just want to say.
Yeah. Facts. Absolute facts.
designed to sell you the college or university DLC, which is kind of overpriced for what you get, but if you decide
This
pretty much designed to sell you the college or university DLC, which is kind of overpriced for what you get, but if you decide to go for it, it can help you get a step up on free-to-play players in the mid-game.
Okay, so we're a bunch of free-to-play players.
So
There are a bunch of free-to-play players.
the mid-game
We're
itself-
actually not the free-to-play players.
generally takes place between around level 18 and 65, where the two biggest focuses are on sustaining the newly unlocked relationship meter and generating in-game currency, which is usually denoted in dollars. So first of all, the relationship meter. This is the built-in drive to find a sexual companion, spend time with them, and reproduce. There are some factions where your parent players choose a companion for you, but in most of the Western factions you get to choose yourself.
That's funny enough already. Like some faction, yeah.
You might think that this is a way better idea, but the problem is they also have to choose you. So it might sound better on paper, but make sure you think out the gameplay. Now, when it comes to generating in-game currency, the most common strategy is to trade your playtime for dollars. If you see most users during this process, while they're technically still actual players, the majority of them are running scripts, so they're typically AFK and are pretty much indistinguishable from NPCs.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Running a script to work on autopilot. And we talk about this way too much. Yeah, but it's kind of obvious. But again, I like when shit's explained to me in like explain like I'm five, type way.
Yeah, definitely. And I think all good concepts should be probably explained in that manner. Like anything that's simple is usually good, unless it's too simple. But that's why it's so important to wake up at 4, or 5. But you get the point. It's like, because you want to take grip of your life. And at the end of the video, like, there's a good conceptual thought that
it's important for you to wake up at 4.
Yes.
Because, like, again, it's the thing. We're operating in different worlds. So I'll just take you and me, for example, as the two different examples of human beings, right? And most people would look at me and say that I'm pretty damn productive. But due to the nature of my job right now, it doesn't make sense for me to wake up at 4 or 5. It's like I spend like half, it would be like an incomplete day before work, then I'd get exhausted by the end of my work day, because it ends at 8 p.m. And then I actually don't have time to develop this beautiful relationship tree, for example. And I think that the major takeaway from the wake up at 4 and 5 is I would just correct that and say wake up early enough to get stuff done outside of your day job. Or go to sleep late enough. I mean, really, you can go ahead and try to tackle life the sort of, from a financial management type direction, right? And then you're gonna have to be in a more structured world where during the hours that businesses operate and during the hours that the world works, pretty much, right? To be able to communicate and network and everything. Or for example, like if I watch this YouTube dude, Derek More Plays More Dates, that's talking about, certain health stuff and blah, blah, blah. He notoriously, like many times, says that he gets most of the work done between midnight and like 4 in the morning. Then he sleeps from like 4 to 10, and then he continues to, live his life from 10 to like 4 in the morning.
Yeah, but
well, about that, he's still up for a goddamn ton of hours, and he is way more successful than the vast majority of people. He's been on Joe Rogan 3 times already at this point. He has a million channel type thing. He's respected by a lot of athletes. Would call him and ask him, what do you think about my blood work? It looks like this, it looks like this. So he's made it in his niche that he's wanted to, right? But like he doesn't, okay, wake up at 4 or wake up at 10. As long as you live enough, I think, in your day.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's also for me. Again, different people differently. But for me, it's like I feel good when I wake up at 5. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel good. Like when I wake up and I do the things, or if I don't, but most likely I'll be doing the things because that's what brings me meaning. And what was the last thing you just said? Like getting enough work done. I think that was the.
Or just live enough life in your day.
Live enough life. That's the reason why I do it. Because I don't live life after work. Essentially, I just want to I want an hour of myself and go to sleep.
It's interesting, it's a whole other topic of conversation. But trying to balance out a little bit of content creation now, because since I started, I want to continue, and you can't just start and stop and stop and start in life. Decided to go, let's go. But for me, it's a tough balance too, because I don't feel creative. I don't feel too creative before like early afternoon. Not in the same way that I do in the late night. This is different types of content and entertainment that I try to do at night. It just doesn't jive with my brain to watch like stupid Chris Hansen reactions at 9 in the morning. I actually want food for my brain at 9 in the morning. But
Yeah.
to go down the content path that I want, I have to be up and awake at midnight to record these shits. By the way, which I've done 3 yesterday. And just real
Wow.
side topic, and we have to continue with this because this one casually explained thing is taking like 45 minutes at this point.
Very true. Very true.
Creating versus the learning. Anyhow, let's see what the fuck they gotta say.
So because it's an MMO, there aren't really any distinct objectives, and
Yo, on a trip. Oh, go on a trip. Like, yo, on a trip.
generally sometime during the mid-game you have to figure out what it is that you want to do. Some players focus on their relationship meter, some on getting more dollars, some on really maxing out certain skill trees, and some struggle to figure it out at all. There's no right answer really, just like any other MMO. I think your goal is to just enjoy the time you spend playing without ruining it for other people. Hopefully when you're a higher level you can get to the point where you enjoy helping players who might be struggling.
Look at that deep thought there for a second.
So when you do get to around level 65, they say you should be at the end game content, but in practice this is getting later and later all the time, despite the level cap remaining pretty much the same. But nevertheless, what's good here is that you generally have a pretty fulfilled relationship meter, your important skill trees are maxed out, you can generally spend the rest of your time exploring the map and doing the things you want to do. Trouble is that at this point it can be hard to actually do those things because you start to experience a lot of bugs with your character.
Oh, that's how they put it. I was wondering how they were gonna put it. Like your stats diminish. But he says
To me, it was gonna be deep.
bugs with the character. What were you saying?
I thought they were going to describe it as debuffs.
Yeah, but like debuffs would have to be purposeful, and why would you get debuffs? I guess maybe to balance out, like you got so much intelligence at 75 that you don't need that much physicality.
This is just because with the amount of variation in each user's programming, you can't expect it to function perfectly after so many iterations. Around level 80 is when you'll really start to encounter a lot of errors, until eventually the screen just goes black and your playtime is over. A lot of users wonder what actually happens at this point, and no one really knows. Some players think you respawn, some think you only get to play once, some even think you unlock a sandbox mode where you can basically just play over all the good bits on a special map. But you know, it doesn't seem to me like there's a big difference between...
That is so, like, I hate to hate on somebody else's idea of the afterlife, but that just sounds like so, like, childish. Like, imagine after you pass away, you get to just unlock the capability to relive the best moments only. That sounds like a childish concept, because obviously everything would get very boring very quickly and lose its meaning. The best moments are usually the best because they're like so rare. So that just sounds like a ridiculous way of like a concept for the afterlife.
So I actually I agree with you. I agreed with you when I watched it the first time. Watching it a second time, I think it's just a general conceptualization of what religion kind of describes as the afterlife. Because, you know, if we think about it from the perspective of what we said of how the hardship of life and all this other stuff, I think that maybe the things that, like, for example, the Quran or the Bible describes as, never read the Torah, so I don't know. Never analyzed it either. So I think, but I know from those books, it's usually like a description, like for example, the Quran, it's like, you know, essentially valleys full of like rivers. So it kind of incentivizes, insinuates this idea of peace, absolute softness, you know, just, you know, sunshine, all this stuff. So maybe that's what he meant.
Yeah, possibly like the truly best moments, not the best moments.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
you're a crackhead, your best moment is under the bridge somewhere, you know, shooting up dope. And imagine you just get
Shooting that dope.
shooting that dope. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's hear this.
finish, so good bits on a special map. But you know, it doesn't seem to me like there's a big difference between before you start the game and after you finish, so don't overthink it and make the most of your playtime.
Alright, lovely message. Sign up to subscribe or whatever to casually explain to everybody that channel's been fucking awesome for years and years at this point. And I've always liked this approach the most. I like to, if I get literally really like worried about the finality of life, you know, the fact that everything ends through our perception, through our life, I usually calm myself down by saying, hey, it's just like before I was born, which was kind of nice. You know what I mean? I never really think back to that time and think, oh, that was like scary, or I was in a void, or I was like, I didn't have a body, or I didn't, like, none of those thoughts are even like, it was just okay. You know what I mean? So that makes me peaceful.
It's a very beautiful conceptualization. I really hope that one day we re-edit the video and we put your last final thought on the your thought on the last final moments.
We could, because I'm going to be editing this a lot. That's why I want to say, okay, let's just 3, 2, 1. I'm going to cut it like right here, and I'm going to say, all right, y'all, thank you very much. Subscribe, like, go on the Twitter and YouTube and whatever else you find. And we're constantly improving and getting better. And thank y'all, and subscribe to Casually Explained, because that motherfucker's awesome.
Yo, amen. Peace.
Amen. Peace.